Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing really well. Or if you're watching the replay and it's sometime in the afternoon or evening, thank you so much for taking your precious time to get a little dose of maybe some education, some regulation, and just being here in this space with the work that I love so much. So we're going to talk about saying no. And as non-diet practitioners, we all recognize how hard it is for our clients to say no. And heck, even for us to say no. I know I struggle with it a lot. You know, that one person that I just really need an evening spot. And you find a way to make it work, even if it's maybe against your energy level. Now, I've gotten really so much better at that over the last 15 years now doing this work. But it's still hard sometimes when somebody really genuinely wants to be present and be brave and do the thing. So, of course, we make it work. But I think our no's and our mirroring of the no's is just as important as when we say yes. And probably the deepest work I've done with my clients is when I've, of course, done my own supervision and therapy around having boundaries. So if you've been on my Tracy Brown RD page, probably this past month, I've talked a lot about boundaries, what intuitive eating can and cannot do depending on where you're at in your recovery. And it's been a little bit more pointed than maybe I have done some of my education and videos in the past, because I'm just thinking if we don't get more comfortable with saying no, then people sometimes actually struggle and suffer longer. And so I want to give an example of how I recently kind of said a no, and it really wasn't a no specifically to other people, but it was more of a no to the part of me that really has a hard time slowing down. All right, and I'm going to give this example, and I know that it actually impacts some of you. So I want to share that and what that process was like. And then I'm going to give you a quick little experiential do with your clients about no. Okay, it's really kind of silly. It's actually kind of fun. So we do have fun doing nutrition counseling, right? But it's not always easy for us to do it in ourselves. So we're going to practice today. All right, so some of you may know that I actually postponed my trauma course. A few of you, not many of you know, because I just sent out an email like a week and a half ago or a week ago saying, hey, trauma course starts September 3rd. And it's not that it's not a yes that I want to do it, but I also recognize that with my capacity, my capacity is pretty good. But I also was feeling really torn because there's some pieces of it that I want to make better for you all. And so I was kind of fighting between those two parts of me, like, yeah, let's do this. I love it. It's probably the course that was one of the easiest for me to make. I made it pretty quickly, even though it's probably 30 something hours of content. And that usually takes probably 100 plus hours. But anyway, I feel like it really needs to be spruced up because I've learned so much more even in the last year or two, that I think that you all deserve to get the best quality information. But I also know making these courses, like I say, takes 100 hours, 150 hours. It takes a long time. And I recognize that I can't do both at the same time. Teach it and amend it, honestly, at the same time as I go with my other client responsibilities and family stuff. So I decided to postpone the course. So I had 2 lovely people already signed up, and telling them is actually kind of gut-wrenching, and I know that they're disappointed. And I'm gonna run it in February, very early February, and I'll have all fall to get it spruced up for everybody. And that's just really important to me, again, to give you the best quality work I can. And and I've had some people that wanted to do it, and they were getting ready to sign up, and I said, hey, let's just put it off. And some people were like, oh man, that stinks, but okay, I get it. And then some people were like, oh, good. They were doing it because, it's like they were raring to go and their capacity was lower. So I do pray and hope that it works out best for all of us to postpone it, do it in February. We'll have a really great, robust group to be together and more people with varying experience to practice, because we do a lot of practicing in our groups as well, and role playing and client review with the information we're learning as we go. So it's pretty potent. Like, you get to learn how to use what I'm teaching. So anyway, there's that. What I want to share with you is when I said the no, I meant it. There was some relief, like there's a little bit of space, but honestly, 3/4 of me was like feeling like a death. And I know that's an ego death, and I know that's a part that feels like if I don't do all the things that I'm letting people down. And that's just a story, definitely from childhood, of like, you're always going to push and always do your best and pedal to the metal, basically 24/7. And even though I've unwound lots of that, there's lots of onion layers to that. I recognize that I have that residual nervous, like that neural pathway in me. I've really been like the good kid all my life. And I was definitely I became a workaholic at grade 3. It's not new stuff for me. So you may see me doing a lot of stuff out there in the world. I do have a lot of motivation to make our profession more trauma informed, make us good stewards of the recoveries we've maybe gotten through ourselves. You done the best, basically like done the best use of these licenses and these certification, all the stuff that we have, and make it as useful as possible. I feel really called and led to do that. And I wouldn't say like I'm a pretty high energy person, but it's usually very focused. So, I was given those gifts and I'm using them to the best of my ability. However, with trauma, it can take your gifts and turn them up to 10 and have you overuse them to the point they're really not that helpful for people and definitely yourself anymore. So learning where those lines are, our capacity always grows as we do our trauma healing and our nervous system health growth work, but it doesn't mean you do more with it. And for me, that's been the learning curve. I would say the last 5 years is learning like, wow, my capacity, I don't get triggered that much by stuff. It takes a lot for me to get stressed, to be honest, at this point. But that doesn't mean that I use all of that freed up energy to work more. And that's a mistake. And that would be the old stuff. So here I am recognizing I could do this course and amend it and see all my clients and do after school things with my kid and on and on and on and on. But I know that will be taxing to my system, to a system that I've worked really hard to heal. And so I decided not to do that. And that's a new thing, which caused some of that neural pathway. There's something in me that like felt like the death. All right. And so if you're feeling that way, that doesn't mean maybe you're doing the wrong thing. It just means that it's new and needs to be talked out. So don't worry. I've talked that out. I talked out last week in my own therapy session. I'll probably talk about it again this week and in this one. And yeah, so there's that. So if you're feeling like bummed that you didn't do it with me this September, no big deal. I'm going to do it again in February and have a better version. So I'm excited about that. Couple other points and then we're going to get to the teaching. All right. So again, our next supervision calls are going to be August 31st at 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you're looking to do a group supervision, it's usually about an hour and a half. And we cover whatever you want to cover, non-diet counseling skills, how to work with people's fears of weight gain. Of course, I'll do some trauma-informed teaching if there's some people who want that. And just go over cases and help you remember you're not alone. And it's super fun. And every month there's some new faces, and every month there's some people who just consistently show up. So I'll be glad to see you all there. I'll be sending out an email with the link. It's $89, I think it's $90, something like that, for 90 minutes. So yeah, that's what we do each month, the last Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. All right, so let's get into our teaching. And speaking of no's, someone's going to have to be held here, so hopefully he's not too big a distraction for you as we do this work. I'm going to have to put him down because he's biting me. And I wanted to yell at him no, but I also didn't want you to have to hear that either. So when we do work with our clients, our clients honestly, usually with more insecure, anxious attachment, really struggle with their own sense of locus of control. They don't have an internal sense of me, basically. There's more always a sense of looking outside of themselves for like, okay, if they tell me I'm okay because I look a certain way, ate a certain way, did the thing a certain way, then I must be okay, right? Question mark. And something we can offer them, because they do struggle with knowing what foods they like as well, of course. If you have that kind of attachment style, dieting is going to be like your anchor to know how to feed yourself, because you don't have your own internal anchor. And if you've been dieting, of course, your interoceptive ability is weakened, right? And our job is to help them strengthen it. But sometimes, you can't really just teach them hunger fullness work, because again, it's not always landing. There's no landing pad. So something you can do is do this simple exercise and say, so I'm going to do a little self role play here with myself. So we're going to call the client Susie. And I'm going to say, Susie, I know that you've struggled a long time to kind of know a little bit of like who you are. And I know that growing up that you were told a lot about what you should and shouldn't do and didn't really often feel like you had a say. And she's like, yeah, that's right. I know we talked about that in our first session. Like, yeah, I remember that. And I'm noticing that's kind of coming up again at work with food and feeling like you have a voice. So I wonder if we could practice something. And it's really silly. And, but I want us to practice something. We're going to practice the nose. Would you be up for that? Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay. And so I'm going to see Susie has a blue shirt on. And I know that actually that's not her favorite color. She's just wearing a t-shirt, right? So Susie, you told me that your favorite color is blue, right? And she's like, what? What do you mean? Like, for everything I say, I want you to say no back. All right. So every single thing I say, there needs to be a no. Because I'm going to say a bunch of ridiculous things that aren't true or maybe don't resonate with you. And your job is to practice the no. All right. So Susie, oh, I'm so glad you wore this blue shirt to the session. I know you did it just for me, right? Because that's my favorite color. And, which is not. That's my favorite color and your favorite color, right? And Susie needs to say no. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't believe that you mean that. I mean, like the way you said it, I'm like, nah, I think, yeah, so blue's your favorite color, right? No. Are you sure? Because you told me whenever we were shopping together that you wanted that blue shirt. And so I just assumed that was your favorite color. And that's what you wanted me to know. Well, no. What do you mean? And I keep, again, so stop the role play, keep pushing and pushing until you get to the place where you're both kind of laughing and practicing being a little perplexed or uncomfortable or whatever, saying no. So your clients can get better at it when the stakes are higher. So you want to keep practicing that. So you can do another example with food. Like let's say that, they hate Brussels sprouts and you keep telling them that they have to eat that food. So do it again. So Susie, with your meal plan, I want you to have Brussels sprouts at your lunch and dinner. Okay. No, I don't know. I don't really like those. I'm like, no, you have to eat that because that's best for your health and because I said so. No, I don't want to eat that. No. And at this point, your client might start getting really antsy or uncomfortable or whatever. And this is going to be pushing against that part of them that's afraid to have a voice because they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. They don't know how to do it. And that's another place of material that you can work on. Or what's that feel like inside to be told to eat something you don't like or you don't want? That's diet culture. That's every single person who's tried to tell you what you should or shouldn't eat. And we need to practice knowing inside what your no feels like and honoring that. So that's a fun, silly little exercise you can do to help your client build a more internal locus of control. And when we say internal locus of control, that doesn't mean control eating. It means there's a balance between what they see on the outside and the inside of be able to give and take, being flexible, because they know inside of themselves enough that they're good. And it doesn't matter as much what everybody thinks about what they should or shouldn't be doing with their food. So I hope this exercise was helpful. I would love to hear in the comments below, what have you said no to recently? Whether it's, I've been working with a lot of clients supervision-wise who we've decided we can only do 2 late nights a week to accommodate after school and after work appointments. Maybe stuff like that you've worked on. For me, I have 3 later nights a week because I take an afternoon, 2 afternoon-ish off to work on obviously projects and do supervision and all my stuff too, you know. So, but that took a long time to get to there, you know, and to be okay with that and actually feel more filled up than just keeping things pretty crammed, right? So tell me below in the comments if you've done some of those things too. How has that felt? Because I can guarantee you've got some clients, colleagues here who like, oh, I thought I was the only one who was struggling with this. So like whether it's fees, whether it's people asking, you know, maybe all your sliding scale and pro bono slots are filled up and there's just one more person asking, and practicing the no with that, and how that feels, and just working through that. I would love to see that in the comments below. Things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see each other in the next video. Bye for now.